Welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small,
Why, hey there. Hello, my fabulous listener. Welcome to episode 213 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices out there, and I really do appreciate you making me and my podcast one of those choices. I have a great guest on today because we are talking about systems and processes, and that is not my jam. So I can't wait to chat to it about all of that with my fabulous guest. But before we get started, if you are enjoying this podcast, I would love you to take a screenshot and share it on your socials and tag me at Jen Donovan. That would be super cool. And if you're looking for any links or any information on this particular podcast episode, head to my website at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/213 and you will find it all there. How did you go with last week's episode, 212, all about getting a little bit better with your marketing and stop thinking you need to be in more places to reach more people, but actually, just taking a step back and going, can my marketing improve? Can my messaging improve? It was a really good episode. I've had a lot of feedbacks, a lot of conversations created out of that. Some of them have been very colourful conversations, and some people who know me well know exactly where my emotions were coming from, that just want to make small business simpler, not more complicated for you. But look, on to today's episode. Today, like I said before, it's all about systems and processes, of which I am definitely not an expert. So I can't wait to introduce you to Nicole Smith from The Artisans. She's here to chat about systems, processes, and give you some enormous tips on getting better at this stuff, and also talk about what the cost is to your business for not getting the systems and processes right. So whether you work by yourself or in a team, this is definitely a good episode to be tuning into. So let's get into it. Let's have a chat to Nicole. Hey, Nicole, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm very, very excited to chat all the things today.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. So, I love the fact that we could do a podcast swap. I was on Nicole's podcast, which is called the Take Control podcast, a little while ago. And so now Nicole is here chatting with us. Nicole, for my amazing audience who perhaps haven't come across you or would just love to know more about you, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Well, my name is Nicole Smith and my business is The Artisans Business Solutions, and we help businesses really discover that middle ground between how they're operating now and how they ideally would love to operate. And what that looks like is looking at your standard operating procedures, which is what we're going to talk about today, your systems, your people, your tech, and really making it beautifully dance together and just weave in so it's really enjoyable, and you can be really focusing on those bits of your business that really make you shine and that just sparkle when you're doing them.
Oh my gosh, talk about overpromise. Let's hopefully you can deliver as well. But I think one of the things when we start off in business, I really love, actually, I love hate the little meme that you see on social media that says, I was tired of working 50 hours a week, so I decided to open my own business, and now I work 24/7. So, and I think that's the reality of so many small business owners, including myself to a certain degree, until you start to get okay at this thing called small businesses. We think that we're going to have so much more freedom when we are a business owner. So I am hoping that you will, through telling us a little bit about standard operating procedures and systems and tech, that you're going to give us a little bit of that gift of freedom, because I'm assuming if you put some of this stuff in place that you will have more time. Is that the gist?
Absolutely. And I will start with saying that I talk about building big and building your big. And something that we learn as business owners is our big looks very different than our
Yes.
colleague that's sitting next to us. So, that's a great place to start, really understanding, well, what is my business? What do I want it to actually be? And then we can look at all the bits that come in as well. So, SOPs, or standard operating procedures, are, in a nutshell, the way that we do the things in our business. So it could be as simple as, where and how are we managing our email communications? Where are we managing our client work? How do we actually communicate internally within our team as well? And all of these things, once we know how we're doing it, it's documenting it and creating workflows that complement it. And then eventually, once you get into the flow and it becomes the natural way of working, it saves you time. You're just easily doing the things each and every day, and you can have more space to either just the white space, which is, as business owners, we need, and we maybe don't allow ourselves to have it as much, but really be able to support not only you as a business owner, but your team as well. And if you're a service-based business, it introduces that consistency for your clients, which is really, really key as well.
Yeah, okay. So, one of the things that I've done for SOPs is basically just screen recording things that I do. So,
Amazing.
say
Yep.
for instance, my podcast, this is how I upload it to Libsyn, and this is the bits that you need to do, type of thing. Now, I actually do that myself, but I do have an SOP for it, just in case one day I decide to bring on somebody who may need to know that information. And I'm sure that you find in your area of work, and I certainly find it in my area of work, well, the excuse that people come up and say, but I don't have a team. So why would I need standard operating procedures when I know what I do and I only need to know what I do? So give us your gold as to why people should care if they are a solopreneur.
Absolutely. So even with solopreneurs, your journey right now may look very different to where you are in a year's time. And when you're first starting out, you may have a little bit more time to actually document these things right now. Because when you're right in the flow, in the messy middle, as we call it, you don't always have that capacity to pause and document and record, and that's the time where you need to bring in the people to help you. Be that, depending on what it is as well, a VA is not always your first hire in your business as well, even though that's sort of spoken about more broadly. But
Yes.
it could be someone that's helping you doing the income generating tasks. And if that's the case, being able to document and have documented your specific way of doing it, and then bringing them on, having their learning process beautiful, and they've got that reference document there. Honestly, I've seen it time and time again, the relief when it's in place. It's like, oh, why didn't I do this like a year ago?
Yeah, I'm sure that is something you hear a lot. So for perhaps my listener who hasn't started this process or has ad hocly done this process, where do you start with creating systems and SOPs and understanding what tech you need? Like, you don't know what you don't know. That's something I've heard a lot in the last month. I'm not really sure if I just keep attracting that phrase or what, but I'm hearing a lot from people, I don't know what to ask because I don't know what I don't know.
That's right. Yeah, that's a common one that's thrown around, especially when we're talking about technical applications. So like, we've had this chat. My favorite project management tool is ClickUp, and I love it. I live and breathe it. It's very similar to Asana, Trello, Monday, for those who are not aware of ClickUp. I now will put that earworm in and you'll be Googling, I can tell you right now. But we don't know. Like, when I didn't know about ClickUp, I didn't know it was a thing, right?
Yeah.
Until we discover it, and then we find the thing for you. But I think the place to really start is understanding what is the most important function in your business. And if you had to step away and bring somebody in, what is that one thing that if you had that documented beautifully, brings you that little bit of sense of comfort to know that that's done. I always think that's a great place to start, but we also don't want to overcomplicate it, because I think we can get stuck in this cycle of it's got to be perfect the first time.
Yeah.
Heard that before? Yeah. It's never going to be perfect. I'm telling you that, right? Because when we design words, blah, 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 when we design our procedures, they're perfect for right now. Because this is what we know right now. This is the systems we're using right now. This is the team or not team that we have right now. You tomorrow might have a conversation or be listening to this podcast and learn about ClickUp and think, oh, hang on a second, that's something new. I've acquired a new skill now. I've got a new way of doing it. And so it's a continuous evolving area of our business, our procedures. So let's keep them really simple. If you just open up a document, step 1, step 2, step 3, high level dot points to start with, just get it out of the brain. Use a tool like, I love Loom, as you said. Loom's fabulous. There's another one called Scribe that actually screen records as you're going through. So instead of full videos as well, it does the screenshots, so it documents as well. So there's lots of online tools that you can use, but sometimes it's just as simple as writing it down, just dot pointing it out, band as you go.
Yeah, and I guess there is the opportunity now, like you're talking about screen grabs and that's the thing, but there's also the opportunity of just recording your voice, like do
Absolutely.
the task, record yourself speaking the task, and then turn that into a written document. But I have to say, I was a little bit, and this might be my thinking, which could be backwards, let's face it, sometimes I come up with some backcrap, that's crazy stuff. But anyway, in my head, when I have thought about doing SOPs and the SOPs that I've got, I have gone for the repetitive $10, I call them $10 an hour tasks, which really they're not. That's 1980s speak. They're really $50 an hour tasks, really, these days.
Yeah.
So they're the ones. When I was starting off in business and doing these SOPs, it was like, these are the ones that I am most likely to first outsource. So these are the ones that I will probably most likely want to get rid of first, because they're not the money earning tasks. And so they're the ones that I'm probably going to give to a virtual assistant. So that's where I started, rather than thinking about the most important tasks. So I found that when you were talking about that, it was just like, wow, okay, that's a different way of looking at it.
But my question as well, what is the most important task to you? Okay, so like when we talk about outsourcing, I know for me, my first engagement I knew was going to be a VA. Yes. I knew that from the moment I started. So when I started my business, that's exactly what I did. I knew that those smaller actionable tasks, how do I want my socials, scheduled? How do I want this done? How do I plan my things, right? That's exactly where I started. Whereas I've got some other clients that their engagement is someone to come and work in the business with them on their client-facing actions. So I think it's really going to be individual of what is your most important task or action there.
Yeah. I think that's a good distinction, I guess, because different businesses work in different ways. Yeah, and I was the same. Like, I knew that I wanted to hire a virtual assistant, and I was actually always a little bit scared to do it, to be totally honest.
Yeah.
And it was only that one of my good friends started a virtual assistant business. She put it on Facebook. I'm thinking about starting this. I'm like, oh, can I be a client?
Pick me. That is, that first engagement, regardless of VA or whatever, can be a bit nerve-wracking, right? Because it's that whole letting go of the things, let's talk about this little perfection over here. But I can do it. It's so easy if I just do it. It just takes me a minute. I don't need to delegate that. I question though, right, with all of those. So my background pre this was, I was chief of staff, and prior to that I was an EA and PA and all the way, starting in reception all the way. So I'm the queen of delegation and pulling tasks off people, right?
Yeah.
for the puller of tasks, we love it. Give us the things to do. Let us have the autonomy. Give us the parameters. Make sure as a delegator that you're clearly communicating what the expectations are and how you'd like the thing to be. As soon as you release that, as soon as you say that task is now yours, I'm here if you need any questions, your brain now has space for the other thing, where you really need to be. You really love to shine. So it's a funny old time, isn't it, when you're ready to relinquish. But having these processes in place, it makes it a lot easier, because with confidence, instead of having to talk through all the things and hope they pick it up, you've got it easily. In my case, here's your ClickUp document. Inside there is step by step. You've got your looms. It's linked to the templates that are all ready and raring to go, that automatically pop into the system, that automatically have you assigned with due dates. Then all of a sudden it's really easy to start to hand over that work.
Yeah.
I've delved into workflows there.
It all sounds very like I would love to see inside your SOPs. They sound magical. They do sound very glittery. Absolutely.
We always love a bit of rose gold glitter,
Indeed. For my audience that might be listening though, time is something that we all have equal amounts of, and yet some people seem to be able to do things that others don't seem to be able to find the time for. So setting up a system, or a process, screen recording, writing down dot points in documents, this takes time. So what is your biggest hint, tip, trick, push, nudge, whatever it needs to be, to the person who goes, I don't have time for this?
Oh, I love that. I don't have time. The old I don't have time. I'm going to ask you, if you're thinking about what you're doing today, you're doing your work, you're doing your actions, you're doing the thing, press record on Loom and talk as you're doing it. Ta-da! Now you've started. You've started your SOP. Gonna say firstly, we also need to have a central location to store these babies as well, because when we do start creating all the documents, if we don't have a library, go into the library and you go into your sections and you've got your naming conventions and all that fun stuff, some structure, because then you can easily find it. But you're doing the work already. So just press record and you're done. You started. So the whole I don't have time, we all have a choice on how we use our time.
Yes.
And that's the fabulous thing, right? But if it's important to you, there is always a way.
Yeah. I could not agree more. Could not agree more. And I'm also lecturing myself as I say that. So I've got the devil on one shoulder, the angel on the other. One's shaking their finger and the other one's shaking their head. But anyway, we will move on.
We've got to be kind to ourselves ultimately though as well, right? Like sometimes in the cycle of the world, things are busier and we don't have capacity to take on anything even as simple as clicking a button or filing a document, right? So let's just be really kind to ourselves and do what feels right at the moment. If it's important to you, you'll easily install Loom and press that button.
Yeah. Beautiful. I was going to ask you what the number one sort of mistake business owners can make with as far as doing SOPs or implementing systems or something like that. And in the back of my head I'm kind of going, is it delegating? Is it actually delegating the task? I would have to say a control freak in my business, and I've slowly learned to let go, not entirely, but I've learned that other people can do things just as well as me. Don't say that out too loud, but really.
Or better.
or better. Oh, that one hurts.
What? Sorry, I just had let it go, like pop into my head. Yeah. You'll always get a song from me. But
darn you, Frozen.
Yeah, I know. Oh, Charlotte loves it, but I secretly love it too. The not doing it, not doing the action, not taking the action is probably the biggest thing that I've seen. It's the I must, I need, all those words of that forced, and you're just sort of sitting in this bubble of non-action, and it kind of just cycles through. Delegating, by not delegating, it's not taking action, right? So it all falls under that banner. Delegation may not be the right method for you at that point, but if you're finding that your business is like stagnating and it's not where you want it to be stagnating, right? You want it to be keep going and moving forward or up and down or sideways or cartwheels, whatever it might be, and you're finding that you're stuck, find somebody that you trust, right? And that can take a bit of time. So don't be under any illusions, like you're obviously super lucky if you've had a friend that's come in and they're fabulous and trust is all automatically there, right? Sometimes it takes trial and error to find that right human that just meshes in and works, autonomously beside you, alongside you, whatever the word is. Delegation is a great one. It really is, because it helps you to keep that momentum moving forward. I've answered that corner. I've gone off on a tangent with let it go.
No, all good.
Good.
I guess the next question is kind of, what's the price of not doing this? Because I've learned in business that money talks. So if you want to tell someone that if you want someone to take action, if you put a money value on it, sometimes that can make them jump into whatever the task is. So what's the price of not doing these things?
Well, you're standing still. You're just standing still. Like, if we talk monetary value, if your aim for your business is to get X amount of clients or build an experience that's this or that and the other, and you're just again stagnating by not doing these actions, by not delegating, by not creating that new system that's going to streamline the experience for your clients to be welcomed on board, you're just going to be stuck.
Yeah.
So that's really the ultimate cost. If you're not taking action, I'm all about taking action, right? If there's something I want to do, we get it done. And then you can celebrate afterwards, pop that champagne, go for a dance, whatever you want to. But you're going to be stuck. And that might be okay if you're feeling that that's exactly where you want to be. But if you're not, if there's that itch, do the one thing. It doesn't have to don't try and do all the things at once. Pick a thing today and do the thing. And it could be as simple as pressing record on that Loom button. It could be, okay, I'm going to identify what tasks I can delegate. I know I need a new system. Okay, today I'm going to have a look at 3 systems and that I really like. Yeah. Micro actions compounded have big impact.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Absolutely. And I suppose that one of the words you mentioned quite earlier in this interview was about scalability. So I guess if you're looking to scale, that is not doing some of these things is, I guess, holding back that goal. And also the freedom that we talked about, if we want freedom, some of these things can help create that for sure.
And removing, you mentioned about those repeatable tasks. Now, it's not just about delegation when we're talking about repeatable tasks, right? So it could be adding some automations into your business. So inside some of the project management tools, like just look on Lens of ClickUp, because it's my fabulous tool, there's so many native automations in there that can really streamline and make things efficient so you don't miss things as well, because sometimes when you're trying to do the manual, there's that opportunity for missing an action or an accountability point, right? If your systems don't have that inbuilt, there are connector tools. So there's one called Zapier. There's one that used to be called Intricomat. It's now called Make.com. All of these things basically take one system and connect it with another. My most favorite is when I get a new client. It's actually multi-stage, but when I get a new client, I manage that in ClickUp. I press woohoo, new client. It moves it from prospects to client list. I've got a Zap that creates my client folder in ClickUp that's templated, that has all the things I need to know for onboarding and how I'm going to work together. I then apply a label that sends those contact details over to Xero, ready for me to do the invoicing and my reoccurring invoicing. So again, I don't forget, because that's a pretty big one that we need to make sure we get paid.
Yes.
So from one click of a button, all of those things happen. My team know that I've got a new client. We know where we're at. We know what we need to do. The timeframes are already set. My client gets confirmation that this is all happening and what the next steps are, because there's email automations as well that are triggered off as part of that process. So it's really thinking a bit, and I hate saying this, working smarter, all that stuff, but it's understanding the experience that you want to create, not only for you, but for your external community. How do you want them to experience working with you? Make it lovely and streamlined, and you'll love it. Trust me, you'll love it.
Beautiful. Well, one of the questions was, what sort of things do you offer for your clients? So we've talked a lot about implementing these systems and having SOPs and systems and things. So, but I think you've just given a really good, clear example of what you can create by working with you. Is that kind of,
yeah?
Did I get the gist right?
Yeah, it's a really funny thing, because for the longest time I never actually told people what I did. And I'm like, why don't people know what I do? They just think I'm ClickUp. Like, why? It's because I talk about ClickUp all the time. I'm a business operations specialist. So what that means is I come into your business and really look holistically at how everything's working right now, where you're heading. So what's your future state business look like, and how can we design our ecosystem, tech, processes, humans, how can we design that and then create it in your systems and then connect it with your people? So I talk about it's design, create, connect, and when all those three combine, your experience of working is beautiful. It's because it's custom for you. I don't believe in off the shelf, like, here you go. All of it is about you, your business, your way of working, and that's what we do. I just extract it and make it a thing. Yeah.
Make it zap and zip and connect.
Make it zap and zip and design and paint, and you get sparkles and probably sung out, as I said. But it's all fun. Make it fun. That's what it is, you know?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, I think that is a really great way of leaving the podcast, because now you've inspired us all. But is there anything, I guess, that we haven't talked about that you would really like the opportunity to chat about?
Oh, goodness gracious me. I love being curious.
Yes, I love that word.
Oh, it's so fun, isn't it? And
if you don't want to ask a
got me
question,
into that.
if you get nervous about asking a question, start with, I'm just curious, because it breaks all barriers. It's the best question.
Oh, absolutely. And questions are the best thing in the world, because, coming back to that, we don't know what we don't know. We really don't. We have acquired so much knowledge over the years in our speciality, but it doesn't mean we know all the things, and nor should we. That's why there's somebody else that's sitting right next to you that is specializing in marketing or specializing in all the tech stuff. The IT guys, everyone needs an IT guy in the world, or IT gal in the world, by the way. So important to get your IT security right. Anyway, that's a side note. But really just, be curious, investigate, press the buttons. Press the buttons. There's nothing you can't fix. Just press the buttons. Right?
Oh, yes, unless you're Optus, but we won't talk about that, will we?
Yeah, well, yes, okay, yeah. Cybersecurity though, right? See, yes. Important. IT gal or guy in your world, so important.
Yes, absolutely.
Ultimately, I'll leave you with all that we do here at the Artisans is we're looking at the foundations of your business. You build a house, right? We need that concrete slab to really set you up with your structure of the house. And then we start to build the inside of it. If we don't have that structure, we don't have the freedom to move in and out and weave and test and try and all those things. So foundations may seem to be boring, but are really the key area of what you're doing to grow a successful business.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you so much for all your wisdom and your sparkles and your absolute love for what you do. It just shines through. It's so great to chat to you again on the other side of the mic.
Yes.
But if my listener would like to get in contact with you, where's the best place to get in touch about systems and SOPs and the sparkles?
Absolutely. Oh, that's 3 S's there. I love that. My website is theartisans.com.au. I'm also on all the socials at at The Artisan Solutions. So you can come and say hello. I love connecting with people. I was just talking before. I'm at a co-working space today, and humans are great. So come in the DMs and have a chat. Let me know what you're using or what your things are about SOPs, and we'll get you excited about it.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Oh, and your podcast, give that a shout out as well.
Take Control with Nicole. So come over and let's take action, take control.
Beautiful. Excellent. I did get that wrong at the start. I just said take control. I forgot the with Nicole bit. So
same. It's good. No, absolutely fine. Fabulous.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much. Great chat.
Pleasure. See you soon.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that one. I know I certainly learned a thing or two, and now I just need to go and put them in practice, just like yourself. And now I have no excuses, right? I have that accountability that I said I would do, so now I need to go and do it. All the links to connect with Nicole are in the show notes, which again are at socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/212. And as always, if you want to chat marketing strategy, or maybe you have one and you need it to work better, as far as your funnels and your nurture sequences go, then let's have a chat. You can always book a discovery call with me at bit.ly, so bit.ly/discover with Jen, and we can get your marketing humming well and truly before 2023 enters our realm. Of course, we can chat in the Facebook group, Like-Minded Business Owners. Love to see you over there as well. But that's it. I'll be back for another episode. In fact, episode 214 next week. But in the meantime, if we're not hanging out on social, let's get social on social. You will find me on Instagram, Facebook, and of course, LinkedIn. And just one more thing before you finally go. Do you have a subject that you would like me to talk about, or a guest you would like me to have on? I would love you to get in touch. That would be awesome. You can DM me or email me, jen@jendonovan.com.au. But whatever you do, remember, my small business peep, as the opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
No time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.
I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Yorta Yorta people, on which I record this podcast and conduct my business today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend this respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today as well.